Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 7-game NBA slate today. We actually don't have that many injuries, surprisingly. I mean, considering how some of these slates have been lately, this is a pretty reasonable slate. For the Wizards, Morris is questionable. For the Trailblazers, Nurkic is questionable. Simmons is out and Winslow is out. For the Celtics, Robert Williams is out. For the Mavericks, Bullock is doubtful and Cleaver is out. For the Pelicans, Alvarado, Zion, and Nance are out. For the Heat, Lowry is out and Love is questionable. For the Bulls, Javonte Green is out. For the Thunder, SGA is out. Jalen Williams is out. That's the small forward, Williams. And then Kendrick Williams is out. For the Suns, Shamet is out. And for the Clippers, Powell is out. Obviously, there could be some information that comes out later, but as of now, we look like a pretty solid slate. There is some value play thanks to a couple of these teams having several big stars out and stuff, but overall, we have a pretty good slate. I think it's a pretty balanced slate from top to bottom, so you're gonna have a lot of decent plays. Before I get started, though, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really helps the channel. Let me get my team picks real quick. So I have Atlanta over Washington, Boston over Portland, Miami over Cleveland, Dallas over the Pelicans, Denver over Chicago, and Phoenix over Oklahoma City, and then the Clippers over the Raptors. Obviously, if there's some guys that get ruled out later, that will definitely affect things. But right now, we have some really good options today. We're going to start with Kevin Durant. And as long as he's below 10K, he's definitely in play. He's got a nice matchup here, though he does have a risk of blowout. But it looks like he's full complement of minutes now for the Suns. He's only played 3 games with them so far, but in all 3 games he's played really well, and this is the first time he's going to be under this price point. He should play 30 to 35 minutes probably, assuming it's kind of a blowout, similar to the Chicago game. But he has a good upside here, especially if it stays closer than expected or anything like that. He's definitely not a must-play, but he's definitely viable on the slate at his price. Devin Booker is an interesting spot today. In 3 games with Kevin Durant on the floor, he's been over 57 fantasy points in all 3 games. His price is still too cheap for that kind of potential. This is a small sample, obviously, but he has upside in this matchup versus a weak defensive team, and he has shot 24 shots per game with Kevin Durant and scored over 35 points in each. That's real points, not just fantasy points, but real points. And at his price point, he has some viability today. Even though he's been pretty streaky throughout the season, he has big time upside as a result of the matchup. Not only that, but I think Kevin Durant just helps spread the floor more for Booker, where he's not getting double teamed like he usually does, and so that really gives him some upside. Then we're gonna look at Trae Young here. Now the Atlanta Hawks have a nice matchup here against Washington. He's priced down some due to a few sub 40 fantasy point games, but both those games were against Miami, which kind of can be ignored since they're the slowest team in the league and one of the better defensive teams. He has big time upside here. Anytime he's below $9,500 or so, he's somebody I like to look at, and he is pretty good below that right now. So he almost seems like the best play on the slate. And when it comes to expensive plays, he is a really good option today, and he has big time upside as a result of the matchup. Then we're going to look at Bradley Beal for the Wizards, and I could definitely see a Beal Young lineup today for a lot of people. He's priced right around where I like to use him at the $8,000 range. He's been improving game to game in his play lately, and he's really not had too many floor games. He started off the season pretty rough, but now he seems like he's playing more like himself, and so I do like him here. He's going to play 35 or so minutes, assuming this game stays relatively close. And he's got a good matchup, and so he's also got a day where it looks like he's got a good upside in this matchup. The only real concern here is the fact that he played yesterday, so do keep in mind he could end up sitting. But if he doesn't sit, then he's in a good spot. He actually smashed Atlanta for 52 fantasy points last time he played them. As for the next guy that I'm going to talk about Josh Giddey. Now, he's very risky because he is against Phoenix, and Oklahoma City could get blown out here. But he has a good matchup, and he's played really well with Shea Alexander out. And as long as he is out, then Giddey is definitely have some upside. He's also Sorry about that. My microphone died. But anyway, for Giddy, it is a little bit risky. Just being against the Suns, who are likely gonna run up the score on the Thunder, and it probably won't be a close game. But he does have some upside with the situation. As for DeAndre Hunter, I really like DeAndre Hunter today for Atlanta. He's been playing really solid lately. He's got some decent floor and a decent ceiling. He's probably not going to hurt you at this price point. He's come down in price. It does seem like throughout each season, he has moments where he becomes a really good play, and he's kind of in that realm now. He's been playing pretty consistent minutes, has a decent price here, and it's basically where his floor is, just slightly below his price. And so I really like him as a good value play on the slate. I think he's a near must play at this point. Then we're going to get into the Oklahoma City players. Isaiah Joe for $4,400. He's very risky, but if he does start, he definitely plays a good opportunity to have a good game here. Obviously, in a tough matchup is the disadvantage here, but if he does start, he'll be a great play. Then we're going to look at Jalen Williams for Oklahoma City as well. Obviously, he's got a tough matchup against Ayton and Phoenix, but he has played well when he starts. You do want to make sure he starts, though. If he doesn't start, then he wouldn't be somebody I want to use. But if he does start, he has 10x upside here. He's probably one of the few players on the slate that does have that, though his floor is in the single digits. But if he does have a big game, he would likely be in the takedown lineup for like a GPP. As for Aaron Wiggins, this is very dependent on him starting, which happens randomly, but they do seem to win every time he plays, or every time he starts, rather. But he has some upside at a near minimum price if he starts, though it is a risky play considering they're playing Phoenix. And then finally, Alex Caruso for Chicago. If he does draw the start here, he'll be interesting, though it is a tough matchup against Denver. He has some decent upside as a result of the matchup and situation, considering the fact Javonte Green is out. And so if he does start, he'll be viable, but you do want to make sure he starts because he's near minimum price. And if he doesn't start, he definitely wouldn't be somebody to consider. I would also mention Nikola Jokic is a decent option today as well. He would be my favorite, over $10,000 play on the slate. With that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.